We have one more topic to discuss. That's why we have arranged a call today. And this will be the final topic for this semester. And we need one more session about the question paper, which we will do live in the class when you come this week here at the college. So we will complete the portions today and we will discuss the question paper uh, in the offline class, that is in the college itself, sometime this week. So the final topic is about describing an object, how we can describe an object. For instance, for the exam, you will be given a picture of an object and you will have to describe that object. So this comes under the write well section, I write well section of the textbook. This is in the module 3, third module, page 102. So this is how that section begins, that chapter begins. It begins with some simple pictures, and to describe that picture, you will get a picture of in the question paper, and you will have to describe the object. So how can we describe this object? That is what we are going to discuss today. What are the different things that we will have to discuss when we talk about these objects? That's what we are going to discuss. So these are the 5 elements we have to think about when we describe an object. So 5 major characteristics. The first and foremost thing is why do we use it? What is its use? Or rather, if you have a definition for it, can you define it in some way? So these are the things that we will be doing when we describe the picture. The first and major thing is what is it? What do you call it? How do you define it, etc. Then you go on to describe the appearance, the parts, the materials with which it is made, what is the shape of the object, what is its size or measurement, dimensions, etc. Then position, where is it kept? For example, if it's a computer, you keep it on a table. If it is a ceiling fan, it is hung from the ceiling. If it is a wall clock, it is fixed on the wall. And you describe the use. If it has some color, you describe the color, etc. So this is the way in which we can describe an object. So we describe the function. So if you take up this picture of the computer itself, you describe that. How do we describe? We describe that it is used for. It is a computer. So it is an electronic device. It is a computer. It is used for many functions. It has a multifunctional device. So that is how we describe that computer. It is used for computing purposes. We can type documents in it. We can prepare programs, etc. So that is what is called the function or use of the object. So it is used to do complex mathematical problems, or it can also be used to write programs. We use it to uh, uh, browse the internet. We use it to watch videos. A lot of functions are there. So we have some examples here on the screen. For example, if you talk about a fridge is used to uh, preserve food, or a fridge is used to So it can be said in two ways. You can use the ing form if you just used to keep food items fresh in condition, or a fridge is used for keeping. If you are using the preposition for, then it will be keeping. So the fridge is used for keeping food items in good condition. So this is the first aspect that we discussed. That is, what is it? What is the use of the object? Then the next thing that we talk about is the what is it made of? What are the parts made of? For example, if you look at the computer itself, it is made of many different parts. There are actually a lot of parts in a computer. It has a monitor. What does it have? It has a CPU. Yes, a keyboard, a mouse, etc. A lot of things. Yes, yes, yes. So it has a keyboard, mouse. That's right. One minute. Okay, sorry for that interruption. So, yes, so these are the parts that we can talk about. We describe the keyboards. If you are describing something else, it may have many different parts. Uh, so, you describe it here. So how can you describe it? So, we can say that a computer consists of, so we write it as a sentence. The computer consists of a mouse. Uh, the computer also has a keyboard. So we write it like this: a computer has a uh, monitor. It uh, consists of a CPU, etc. You can use different words like this here when you have a description of a hammer here. So here it is described that the hammer consists of, yes, hammer consists of, or it's made up of, it's composed of a handle and a head. You can use different words like this, okay, or you can say a hammer includes a handle and a head, etc. Or hammer has two parts, or two sections, or two components, etc. So this is how we describe the parts of the object. So what is important is to write it as sentences. So what happens is when you describe the object that is given to you, when you describe the picture that is given to you, we write this description in the form of a paragraph. So there will be a few sentences which will become a paragraph. So it will be also an exercise in paragraph writing, whether we are able to write coherently, whether we are able to write in a manner in which it is very readable. So that is what is being tested in this. Okay. So then we talk about the different characteristics of these objects. That is, what is it made of? Because if you look at these uh, objects which are given here in the textbook, I repeat, this is in page 102. So if you look at these objects are all made up of different things. For example, this is a thermometer. It has a steel tip. It has a glass body, and it has mercury inside it. So the different parts are made up of different things. So that is what is known as the material. What is it made of? For example, if you talk about the computer is made up of different things. It is made up of plastic. It is made up of wires. It is made up of diodes. A lot of things go into making of a computer. So that is known as the material. The what is it made of? So here, if you have the picture of the chair here, it is made of wood, and the other art form that is also made of wood. And you have bread here. Bread is made out of wheat. That is the material. What is it manufactured with? Okay. Then the shape of the material. If you look at the computer, different parts will have different shapes. Okay, this keyboard is rectangular in shape. Monitor is shaped like a box. You can say that it is like a box. Okay. Then the mouse is shaped like a mouse. That's why it is called a mouse. Looks like a mouse. So it has the shape of a mouse. That is why it is called a mouse. And even the monitor has different parts, have different shapes. For example, the base of the monitor is oval in shape. Okay, the front part is uh, almost like a square, and the entire monitor looks like a small box. And if you look at the keyboard, it is rectangular in shape. So the shapes of these different things, different objects are different of the same device. So the same device. For example, if I talk of the fan, right, let us take up the ceiling fan for example. So the ceiling fan, what is the shape of the ceiling fan? You cannot say that the ceiling fan is of any particular shape because it has many parts which are of different shapes. It has a cylindrical rod which hangs from the ceiling. It has a central round motor which is round in shape. Then it has blades, leaf or blade. These are the different parts. Leaf or a blade of a fan. It's either called a leaf or a blade. And what is this shape? It is almost rectangular in shape, tapering towards the end. So the shapes of the objects will keep varying depending upon the kind of the object, type of the object. But surely uh, you can, like I talked about the mouse, it is shaped like something. You can say that it is like a mouse or like a cylinder. Some examples are given here. For example, the coin. An example is coin. This is, you can say that the coin is shaped like a circle, or a coin is circular in shape. A coin is just, you can just say a coin is circular because it's understood that circular is about shape. So what are all these things? These are all coming under characteristics. So the first characteristic is material. Now we talk about the shape of the object. Then what else can we talk about? Can talk about the different parts can have different shapes. For example, certain parts will be like a cone, maybe like a hemisphere, pyramid, triangle. Well, these are different shapes. Many parts will have different shapes. For example, the base of the monitor is almost oval in shape. You cannot say that it is round. So that kind of shape is called oval. It's neither a circle nor any other cylindrical shape. It is oval shape. So there are different kinds of shapes which are given here, which we can use in our descriptions. So the third characteristic. So these are the characteristics that we are describing. The first characteristic that we described is material. എന്തുകൊണ്ട് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുള്ളതാണ് മെറ്റീരിയൽ. എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ആ വസ്തു നിർമ്മിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്? That is called material. And second characteristic is what is its shape? അതിന്റെ രൂപം എന്താണ്? Whether it looks like a cylinder, whether it looks like a triangle, a circle, a square, or it looks like something that else that you see outside. The third characteristic of the object that we can describe is what are its dimensions. Dimensions is nothing but measurements. Okay, so dimensions measurements. So if it is a square, so the length and the breadth of the square will be the same. But if it's a rectangle, the length will be one measurement, the breadth will be another measurement. So we may have to take the measurements of these parts. So length, width, height, depth, thickness, etc. So that is about the dimensions of the object. What are the adjectives that we can use? We can say that the leaf of the fan is 120 centimeters long. So that is, I am giving the measurement. The leaf of the fan is 120 centimeters long. Okay. I can put it in a different way. Also, I can use the noun instead of the adjective. So when I say that, then I will rewrite the sentence differently. Will I write? The length of the leaf of the fan is 120 centimeters. So you can use either an adjective or a noun to describe. So when you use an adjective, the structure of the sentence will be different. When we use a noun, the structure of the sentence will be again different. See, there are some more examples which are given here. All these three sentences mean the same thing. It talks about the height of the building. Then what is the difference? It is only the difference in the structure of the sentence. When we make the sentence into different structures, we have different sentences. The meaning remains the same. Whichever of these three sentences we use, all the three sentences have the same meaning. That is the third characteristic that we describe. So, first we described the material, then we described the parts, the shape. Now we describe the measurements, dimensions. So, this is the dimension. The dimensional measurements. Okay, the next category, the characteristic that we describe is property. Property is also means nature, prakritham. Okay, it's a quality of the object. For example, if I when I talk about a bottle, I can say that it is fragile. What is the meaning of? Uh, if you have seen certain boxes, cardboard boxes, we have uh, written on it, handle carefully, fragile. What's the meaning of fragile? Have you heard this word? Fragile? Fragile എന്നുള്ള വാക്ക് കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? What is the meaning of fragile? That is a property of an object. I will give you a clue. It's a property of materials like glass, that it is fragile. So, what is fragile? കേൾക്കുന്നില്ലേ? ഹലോ, കേൾക്കാമോ?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, yes. Okay, something which is weak. Okay, അത് തന്നെയാണ് fragile എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. That's right, very clear. Something that can break easily. Okay, voice കുറവാണ്. Okay, that is fragile, something that is weak, or you can say that something that can break easily. പെട്ടെന്ന് പൊട്ടാൻ സാധ്യതയുള്ളതിനാണ് അതെ ദുർബലമായത്. Okay, that is right. So, that is what is meant by fragile. Something that can break easily. So, what is that? It is the quality of the object. So, it can be related to the a particular shape of it, or the when I talk about the book, some books are very thick, some books are very thin, etc. So that is a property. Or uh, some objects are rough, some objects are smooth. Okay, rough and smooth. So these are all different properties of the object. So that is the fourth characteristic. So we discussed four characteristics now. The first one is the material with which is it made. Then we discussed the shape, that's the second characteristic. Then the third characteristic is the dimensions. And then the property of the object. That is the nature of the object. Then we can describe the color. So this property you may not need to describe in the for the question that you get, because usually it is a black and white question paper, so there is no point in mentioning the color of the object unless the object always comes in a certain particular color. Then we can mention that color, but normally if the these objects come in many different colors, then there is no need of mentioning the color. So that is the next property that we can describe. You can also see in that example the same sentence is written differently, or the same meaning is given in two different sentences by giving different structures. Okay, the next characteristic is the position. Where is it placed? For example, uh, if you are using this object to measure the temperature, it is usually placed behind your arm or beneath your tongue, etc., to measure the temperature. So that is how we describe. Where is it placed? For example, when you talk about a ceiling fan, you say that it is hung from the ceiling. If it is a table fan, it is placed on a table. If it is a pedestal fan, have you heard of? Must have heard of a pedestal fan. Pedestal fan. No. Pedestal fan is placed on the floor. So that is the position. Where is it placed? We can use different words, lot of different words to describe the position of the object. You can say that, for example, when you talk about a clock, there may be many parts which are positioned differently. The lowermost hand is the hour hand, and above the hour hand is placed the minute hand, and on top of the minute hand we have the second hand. So that is the position of the different objects of the same device. We are talking about the clock. So we can use such different words like inside, outside, at the top, on left, right, middle, bottom, above, below, etc. So then we can describe the position not only of the object where we place the object, but also of different parts of the object. Different parts of the object may be positioned in different places. When we talk about the battery of the clock is behind the clock. Okay, so that is how it is described. That is the next characteristic. We talk about the position. Some examples are given here. The engine is inside the scooter with a headlight at the top. The spare wheel, so this is a description of the scooter. If you get the picture of a scooter, and give such examples. The spare wheel is at the back. There's a petrol cap under the seat. That is a cap for the petrol tank. So these are all descriptions of the where is it placed, position of these things. Similarly, there is a description of the car. The next is the connection between different parts. For example, when you talk of the ceiling fan, they all the leaves, how many leaves are usually there in a ceiling fan? It has usually a ceiling fan has how many leaves? Ceiling fan എത്ര blade ഉണ്ട്? 3. Usually ceiling fans have 3 blades. If it is a very fashionable ceiling fan, sometimes it has 4 blades. Normally, a ceiling fan has 3 blades. Yes, that's right. Yes, yes. So these 3 blades, they are connected to the central motor. So that is connection. How is it? They are fixed to, they are fitted to. We can use such words, such connecting words to describe the connection between the parts of the object that we are describing. So the central motor holds the blades together, or I can say that the leaves or the blades are fixed to the central motor. And then I can say that the rod, the cylindrical rod, uh, hangs the fan from the ceiling, joins the fan to the ceiling. It supports the fan from the ceiling, etc. Such connecting words can be used to describe the connection. We look at these examples. The second and the third example has the same verb fit. I mean, but the phrasal verb is different because the preposition is one is over and one is into. There's two different meanings. So when the rubber tube is fitted over the glass tube, it means that the rubber tube is standing outside, the glass tube is inside. So the same meaning is there in the third sentence. The glass tube is fitted into the rubber tube. The meaning is the same, the position is the same, but when you are mentioning the rubber tube first, then we have to say that it is fitted over the glass tube. But when we are mentioning the glass tube first, then we say that the glass tube is fitted into the rubber tube, which means that the glass tube goes inside the rubber tube. Rubber tube in ഉള്ളിലേക്കാണ് glass tube പോകുന്നത്. രണ്ട് സെന്റൻസിന്റെയും അർത്ഥം ഒന്നാണ്, but the structure used is different. Different structures used to describe the same thing. That is the second and third examples. Similarly, the example of the wire leads from the switch to the bulb, and the wire links between the switch and the bulb both have the same meaning. The connecting words we use are different, that's all. The wire leads from the switch to the bulb, and the wire links between the switch and the bulb both have the same meaning. But the structure is different. So we can use different structures to describe the objects. Provided there is no confusion in the structure that we write, we can use any different structures that we find comfortable. So this is a question we also had for an exam, one of the previous exams. There was a picture of a kettle. I think this is the third kettle they had for the exam. It is a kind of electric kettle. So this is the kind of description that we give. You get only the picture for the exam. Picture മാത്രമാണ് നമുക്ക് exam. So this is a kind of description that we have to write. And if we write such a description properly, can get us 5 marks. So what are the different things that we describe? We describe the first we describe the definition or use is. Then we describe the parts. Then we describe the shape of the parts. Okay. Then we talk about the measurements. You can see all these things in this description. Then we talk about the measurements. Then we talk about the material. There is no particular order in which you can write. Can you write it in any order? Then the position of these parts. So all these things have come into this description. Now let us come back to the text. There are two descriptions, very interesting ones. That is in activity 2 of page 103. That is the next page. If you look at this description, there are two descriptions in this page, in this activity. Read the following descriptions and write down the names of the objects being described in the space provided. Read the following descriptions and write down the names of the objects being described in the space provided. Just try to read these two descriptions. They are two different things. രണ്ട് ബോക്സിലും കാണുന്നത് രണ്ട് സാധനങ്ങളാണ്. Just go through these descriptions and try to identify the things that are being described here. That's right, Sri Lakshmi. First one is a pair of scissors. A pair of scissors. And the second one? Many may not know the English word. The clue is there in the last sentence. Last sentence clue ഉണ്ട്. ചെറുവേട് ഇംഗ്ലീഷിനെ ലാസ്റ്റ് സെന്റൻസിൽ ക്ലൂ ഉണ്ട്. കിട്ടിയില്ല എന്നിട്ട്. Exactly, yes. Coconut scraper എന്ന് തന്നെയാണ് അതിനെ പറയാ. Because it is used to scrape coconut. So that is why it is called a coconut scraper. So if you look at these descriptions here, see the first description, first you have the definition of the object. What is it used for, etc. The definition എന്താണ്? It is a two-bladed cutting instrument. Use എന്താണ്? For cutting cloth, paper, etc. Then we have the description of the parts and their connection, how they are connected, the shape of the object, then the material with which it is made, etc. Then the nature, pratyegada, like we saw, talked about glass is fragile. There are many different natures of material. Property. So when something is brittle, അതും ഒരു പെട്ടെന്ന് പൊട്ടുന്നത് എന്നുള്ള അർത്ഥത്തിലാണ്. Brittle, something that can break easily. So these are the properties. And in the description of the coconut scraper, you can see that the dimensions are also very mentioned in detail. All the measurements are given in detail of the different parts. the position of the object is described, or different parts is also described. How is it positioned? Different parts are positioned differently. So one end of the iron rod is fixed. So this is the position of the different parts. One end of the iron rod is fixed to the upper part of the wooden plank. Palaga. Plank palagayanu. And the other end is flattened and projects like a tongue. നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിലും നാക്ക് എന്ന് തന്നെയാണ് പറയുക, ചിരവയുടെ നാക്ക്. So it is this is called the tongue of the coconut scraper. And what is the peculiarity of the tongue? അതിനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ property അല്ലെങ്കിൽ nature എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. What is the peculiarity of that tongue? The tongue has many sharp pointed ends. അതാണ് അതിൻ്റെ പ്രത്യേകത. That's the property or the nature of the tongue. Then again the position of the tongue is mentioned. How is it described? It is raised 4 inches from the seat. Which is the seat? What functions as the seat? The plank functions as the seat. ആ പലകയാണ് സീറ്റായിട്ട് ഫങ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So the tongue is raised about 4 inches. That is the okay. So maybe some network problem. ഇപ്പൊ ക്ലിയർ ആണോ? കേൾക്കാമോ? ഹലോ. Okay. So right. So these are the different ways in which it is described. Thank you for those responses. അപ്പം നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുന്ന എക്സാമിന് കിട്ടുന്നത് ഈ ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്ഷൻ അല്ല, നമുക്ക് പിക്ചറേ കിട്ടുള്ളൂ. നമ്മൾ ഇതുപോലെ എഴുതണം. അതിനുവേണ്ടിയാണ് ഞാൻ ഈ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തത്. നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുന്നത് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ജസ്റ്റ് എ പിക്ചർ ദാറ്റ് വി ഗെറ്റ്. വി ഹാവ് ടു റൈറ്റ് ദി എൻറ്റയർ തിങ്. So we'll do one more exercise to help us understand. So here in this activity, here there is, these are the different things that we did. First we talked about the definition and the use. Then we talked about the appearance, parts, material used, shape, size, okay, measurement, etc. The position. Use നമ്മൾ ആദ്യമേ തന്നെ പറഞ്ഞു. Color is not usually required here. Then the nature of the material. What are the physical properties? പിന്നെ എന്തെങ്കിലും additional information ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതിൽ കൊടുക്കാം. So this is what you get for the exam. You just get a picture of the object. So by looking at the picture, we should understand what that object is, and we will get only such a picture which you can understand. So it's no problem. So if you see this object, it is a very common object in many homes. It is called a mixer or a blender. രണ്ട് വാക്കുകളും അത് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട്. In some places it is called a mixer, or some other places they are also called blenders. Generally it is used to mix material of different nature together. For example, if you have an egg, it will have two different parts. One a slightly solid, semi-solid kind of the yolk. The central yellow yolk is kind of semi-solid type, and the white part of the egg is almost viscous, very liquid kind of thing. So we may need to blend these things together. So for that purpose, we generally use this blender or a mixer. So instead of beating it with a spoon, it's easier to do it with a blender. So that is the device that we are going to describe. So in this activity, we have this mixer being described. We just need to fill up those blanks. So let us, the blanks can be filled up using those words in the brackets which are given on the top. So a mixer which is used for mixing food is made of dash and dash. Now here we are talking about the material. What is the material that we use? That is right. It is made of metal and plastic. It consists of four parts: a base, a stand, a motor housing, beater, and a bow. Four allalo five ഉണ്ട്. There are five parts. It consists of five parts ആണ്. It's a mistake here. അതായത് അഞ്ച് സാധനങ്ങളുണ്ട് അതിൽ. എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് അഞ്ച് സാധനങ്ങൾ? ബേസ് ഉണ്ട്, അതൊന്ന്. ഓക്കെ, ബേസ് ഇസ് വൺ. Then you have two is stand. Then three is a motor housing. Motor housing എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? Something that houses the motor. മോട്ടർ സൂക്ഷിച്ചു വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന ഭാഗം. Like we also have a motor housing for the fan. മോട്ടർ ഇരിക്കുന്നത് ഒരു ഹൗസിംഗ്. മോട്ടർ നമുക്ക് ഡയറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് കാണാൻ പറ്റില്ല. It's inside a housing. So that is the motor housing. Then we have the beater. Something that beats the eggs. അതിനാണ് beater എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. And the eggs are placed inside that bowl. So that is the fifth one. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ there are five parts here. So that is, one is a base, the second one is a stand, third is a motor housing, fourth one is a beater, and the fifth is a bow. And now we have the description of the shape of the base. Shape on. Here you can see that shape is not circle. വട്ടത്തിലല്ല. Base നോക്കിയാൽ ആ black part, the base of the motor, the mixer or the blender is not round. Yes, exactly. It is oval in shape. Oval shape. അങ്ങനത്തെ ഷേപ്പിനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഓവൽ ഷേപ്പ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. കാരണം അതൊരു വട്ടമല്ല, ഒരു നീണ്ട വട്ടം എന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് അതിനെ പറയാം. മലയാളത്തിന് അതിനെന്ത് പറയുന്നത് എനിക്കറിയില്ല. ഓവൽ എന്നുള്ളതിന് മലയാളത്തിൽ വല്ല വാക്കുണ്ട്? So it is oval in shape. Then we have the dimensions. പിന്നെയാണ് dimensions. Dimension means measurements. It is 12 centimeter wide and 15 centimeter long. The stand which is supported by the base is 30 centimeter in 30 centimeter in. അതും ഡയമെൻഷൻ ആണ്. നമുക്ക് ആകെ ഡയമെൻഷൻ അതിൽ ഇത്രേ ഡയമെൻഷൻസ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുള്ളൂ. അതിൽ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് ഡയമെൻഷൻ ഉള്ളൂ. യെസ്, ഹൈറ്റ് ആണ്. ഓക്കെ, the motor housing, which consists of a motor, is joined to the stand at the rear. Rear എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ബാക്ക്. റെയർ വ്യൂ മിറർ എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും നമ്മുടെ വെഹിക്കിൾസിലൊക്കെ. റെയർ വ്യൂ മിറർ, റെയർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ബാക്ക് എന്നാണ് അർത്ഥം. A mirror with which you can see the back of the vehicle is called a rear view mirror. So it is fitted at the back. It is joined to the stand at the back. അങ്ങനെ തന്നെയാണ് അത് ഫിക്സ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. പിക്ചറിൽ കാണാം. It is joined to the stand at the rear, at the back. The steel beater which is hanging down from that motor housing. മോട്ടോർ ഹൗസിങ്ങിന്റെ മുകളിൽ നിന്ന് ആ ബീറ്റർ സ്റ്റീലിന്റെ മെറ്റീരിയലാണ്, അതിങ്ങനെ താഴേക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ നിൽക്കും. സോ വാട്ട് ഈസ് ദി പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ഓഫ് ദാറ്റ് ബീറ്റർ? സ്റ്റീൽ ബീറ്റർ, സ്റ്റീലിന്റെ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി എന്താണ്? സ്റ്റീൽ അങ്ങനത്തെ മെറ്റലാണ്. വാട്ട് കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് എ മെറ്റൽ ഇസ് സ്റ്റീൽ? ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി of the steel beater. Exactly, it is hard and tough. That is right. It is fitted below the motor. You can see that the steel beater is coming down from the motor, from the motor housing. It is coming down, it is hung down from the motor housing. It is fitted below the motor. The glass bowl is hard but brittle. Brittle means it can easily break. So that is the nature of the glass bowl. It is hard, it is strong, but it can break if you drop it. The edge of the bowl, that is the shape. So that is the next shape you can describe. edge of the bowl is dash in shape. What is the edge of the bowl? Is circular in shape. That's right. It is circular. The glass bowl can be detached from the base. എടുത്ത് മാറ്റാൻ പറ്റും. ഇത് നമ്മൾ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് യൂഷ്വലി യൂസ്ഡ് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിലൊക്കെ ഇത് ഓംലെറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാനാണ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുക. ഇത് മുട്ട ഇങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ അടിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിൽ മുട്ട എത്ര വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഇട്ടിട്ട് ഈ ബീറ്റർ ഒന്ന് പ്രസ് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അത് ഈ എല്ലാത്തിനും ഒരേ കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് മെറ്റീരിയലാക്കി മാറ്റും. അപ്പോൾ വേഗം ഓംലെറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയെടുക്കാം. ഓംലെറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാനാണ് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുക. വേറെ സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ അവർ ഈ ജ്യൂസസ് ബ്ലെൻഡ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് യൂസ് ചെയ്യും. അപ്പോൾ അതിന് പല യൂസസ് ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇതിനെ മിക്സർ എന്നും ബ്ലെൻഡർ എന്നും പറയും. So the power of the motor is 650 watts. Nowadays it is common in all all kitchens. So that is it. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുക. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഹെൽപ്പിംഗ് പാരഗ്രാഫ് നമുക്ക് എക്സാമിന് ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. നമുക്ക് എക്സാമിന് ഈ പിക്ചർ മാത്രമേ ഉണ്ടാവുള്ളൂ. യു മേ ഹാവ് ടു ഡിസ്ക്രൈബ് ദ പിക്ചർ like this. You will just get the picture of these. ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു പിക്ചർ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടും. You can see that the first one, this is a grinding machine. That is an object which is used in a workshop. Grinding machine. Then you have the description of a kettle. You can have a picture of a kettle, and then you have a picture of a torch. So you will get any one of these pictures. ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു പിക്ചറേ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുള്ളൂ. You will have to describe the picture in this paragraph. And how will we describe? We will describe it using these different things that we mentioned in the beginning. That is, what is the shape? What is the first we describe how what is its use. Okay, what is its these are the major things that we have to use. First one is the characteristics. I mean the use and the function of it. Definition. എന്താണ് ഈ സാധനം? Definition. Then its use. Then we mention it. What are the different parts? Then we come to the characteristics. Characteristics എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പ്രത്യേകത. So there are different characteristics that we describe. That is, what is it made of? What is the material which this is made? Then what is the shape of that material? Then what are its dimensions? Dimensions means measurements. Then what is its property? Property means whether it is brittle, whether it is strong, whether it is hard, whether it is rough, smooth, etc. Then if we want, we can describe the color of the object. Then we mentioned the position not only of the entire object but also of its different parts. So certain parts will be placed differently. And how do we describe that? That is called connection. How are the different parts connected with each other? So if you describe all these things in a paragraph, you can easily fetch the full marks for this object. Exactly, that's right, Srilakshmi. Use, parts, characteristics, position, connection. So that is it. We come to the end not only of this topic but also of the entire topics for this semester. We just have to discuss the question paper. I think that we will do in person. We will meet personally inside the classroom and we will discuss the question paper and any other questions that you may have. We will discuss everything when we meet here in the college this week. So that's it. We'll wind up for today. Thank you everyone for joining. It is raining here. I hope it's all raining everywhere. So enjoy this pleasant rain in the comfort of your homes. Thank you for joining. Have a nice afternoon. Goodbye.